Blood Moon Milk, the astrology show that comes out every full and new moon to help guide you on your mindfulness, meditation, and manifestation journey. If you're new here, I'm your host, Aurora, and I've been studying astrology since way back in 2008. So getting close to 20 years now. And I love to look at astrology from a personal growth perspective. It's great to understand the lunar cycles to help us check in with ourselves, to meditate, to get grounded, to check in and see where we are, how we're feeling, so that we can help be more aligned with the things we really want to cultivate more of in our life. And it's a practice, right? Nobody is ever going to be the perfect meditator, the perfect manifester, but we can get really good at just checking in with our feelings and seeing where we're holding tension or aggression or any of these complicated emotions that tend to come up over the course of our daily lives. And if we don't have a chance to sit and work through them on a regular basis, then they can kind of get out of control. So that's what I do here. I help you to pick that stuff apart for yourself and assess your own goals and provide a space that is supportive of that journey. Um, so before we jump into the astrology of the Aquarius full moon that's going to be happening on August 9th, right after the Lionsgate portal, I do want to just talk about an event that I have coming up on the Lionsgate portal. So on August 8th, which is this Friday, in Manhattan, I am hosting an astrology workshop. There will also be Reiki from my friend Reiki Master Tracy and a sound bath and meditation as well. It's going to be 2 hours of mindfulness, meditation, sound bath, and Reiki to help us ground some of these feelings that we've been dealing with because the energy has been really intense lately. We're in the midst of a Mercury retrograde. We're like, there's other outer planets that are retrograde as well. And the astrology right now is incredibly strong and loud. And it has a tendency to get to be a little bit chaotic and overwhelming when these sort of energy signatures are present in our sky. So, if that's something you're interested in, if you are in Manhattan or in Brooklyn or one of the surrounding boroughs, I would love to see you come out. It's $44. Head over to my website. It's bloodmoonmilk.com, all one word there. And then click on the big pink button at the bottom of my page. It says workshop. It's $44 for the evening. And it's going to be a great event. And so, yeah, if you're interested, go check that out. Love to see you. Okay. Also, you know, if you if you know me, like you know that I do the daily dose, that's still available. I'm still writing that. It comes out Monday through Fridays. It's my daily email newsletter that basically unpacks the day's most important, relevant astrological transits so that you kind of get a heads up about what's coming your way before you get your day started. It's designed to be read over coffee in the mornings so that you can kind of easily digest and get your heads up about what's coming your way. And it helps you learn a little bit about astrology too. And it's only $7.99 a month. It's cheaper than Netflix and probably far more beneficial. So go check that out. It's also over at the website bloodmoonmilk.com. Okay, that's enough shilling for now. I'm gonna go hop on into sharing my screen and I will bring up the astrology chart for this full moon in Aquarius. Now, this full moon has a lot of really intense energy signatures going on. Some of them are really good, really beautiful. Some of them are really intense though. But let's just jump into it. And basically, everybody has all the signs in their chart somewhere. So just because you don't happen to have a planet at 17 degrees of Aquarius, which is where this full moon is happening, doesn't mean that it's not going to illuminate something in your life on some level. So it's a good idea to take a listen, to check out your chart, see where the full moon and see where some of these other planets are transiting, And if you want a personal reading with me, they're available over at the website, bloodmoonworld.com. And you can book with me there. And love to see you, have a Zoom session with you and talk through your chart and give you a heads up about all the things that are headed your way potentially. Okay, so let's get into it. Here is the full moon. She is at 17 degrees, so 16 degrees and 59 minutes, which is rounding up just a little bit, 17 degrees of Aquarius. And full moons is always opposite the sun, so that means the sun in Leo is also at 16 degrees, 59 minutes of Leo. Now, this axis, the Leo Aquarius axis, is all about the heart and brain axis. So it's loving energy versus intellectual energy. How do we function from an emotional place? And how do we balance that with what is intelligent to do? How do we move with both the grace of a loving heart and the uh, the prowess of a honed intellect? Now, the moon is our emotional center of gravity. And as she moves through the zodiac every month, she takes about 2.5 days in each sign to kind of hit each one. But when she is in Aquarius, she is less emotional than she is in other places. Aquarius is a fixed sign, it's an air sign, it's very dry, and it is unemotional, it is detached, it is the observer. It doesn't mean it doesn't care. It's actually a very caring and humanitarian minded energy, but it doesn't want to necessarily be bothered with the complexities of interpersonal hands-on relationships. It is more of a social architect than it is a warm hostess that's going to nurture you and feed you and cook you a really nurturing, like fully fulfilling dinner. Um, and so with that in mind, um, we're also confronted with the ideas and themes of technology right now in a big way. Um, that's because Pluto is also in Aquarius. He's here at 2 degrees of Aquarius. Now, he's not conjunct this full moon, thank God, because that would be even more intense. But we are feeling the impact of technology. We are feeling the impact of not necessarily being in our heart center, or being maybe too emotional. But I think that it's really going to be this theme of what is good versus what is right. And those are two different things, good and right. Um, Good can be just good enough for now. Especially when it comes to things like humanitarian policies, aid to people who need it, versus the the ability to show up from a place that is loving and caring. So that's going to be the main overarching theme for this full moon in Aquarius. Leo energy it's the energy of the sun. It's radiant. It generates its own energy and heat. The sun literally is a solar reactor in the sky, and it is a generator. It's able to, create life and energy just because it exists. And so that's why it's so magnetic. Aquarius, on the other end of the spectrum, feels sort of left out in the cold quite frequently, sort of often misunderstood. It's ruled classically by the planet Saturn, but also more modernly by the planet Uranus. And both of those planets right now are having this beautiful conversation. So let's look at those because those are the rulers of this Aquarius full moon. So Saturn here at 1 degree is having this beautiful conversation with Uranus here at 1 degree. So this is a sextile between Aries and Gemini energy. We also have Neptune conjunct Saturn. This is very strong energy. It's flowing, it's easy, it's it's creating a sense of structure and inspiration. That's what Neptune and Saturn are doing for us here. They're also creating new things together. They're sort of conspiring to come up with this dream of a better tomorrow, a better future. They are retrograde right now, so this energy is a little bit more introspective than it is public. But Uranus and Gemini, Uranus is still going forward. He's not retrograde yet. He will be retrograde again soon, and he'll go back into the last few degrees of Taurus to kind of pick up any leftover pieces that he may have missed the first time around when he was doing that. Um, but for now, during this full moon, there's this beautiful sense of collaboration, of bringing divine universal connection and inspiration in terms of beauty and music and creativity. That's Neptune, and working with Saturn, which is karma and uh, rigid authority, but also structure and things that last. So building something that is lasting and beautiful, together with the Uranian influence in Gemini, which is all about communication and socializing and these unexpected epiphanies. So this full moon could really be a beautiful time for opportunities that are completely unexpected to drop in your lap and to be a way forward. However, we are also being confronted with Mars in Libra. Now, Mars typically does not like Libra, and he is in opposition to two heavy-hitting planets in his home sign. So Mars in opposition to Saturn and Neptune is an aggressive energy. It's this energy of feeling like you need to prove yourself, or that diplomacy is is being required and being sort of jostled out of the way by a sense of aggression. Now, um, these Aries placements with Neptune and Saturn can be very aggressive, and Mars in Libra, again, at his detriment. Mars really likes to be like rushing forward, sort of sword in hand, coming to the rescue, being the hero. But in Libra, he's having to take himself out of the equation a little bit and thinking about the good of the group. And this kind of goes back to, again, I mean, it's another air sign, right? This moon is in an air sign, but this full moon is semi-square to Mars. This harsh sort of red line down here going to the moon is indicative of that. Um, and so like these two air signs, while, typically air signs get along pretty famously, you think of air signs as being trine, but the degree that they're at is complicating things. Now, this could be suggestive of a lack of diplomacy and sort of brute force, kind of saying like, well, this is what I want, this is what makes sense, so this is the way we're moving forward, regardless of the good or the benefit for the group. But this, so it's likely that we're going to see some very loud, dramatic events adjacent to this full moon in the public realm, in the media. This could be an intense energy signature for a lack of diplomacy and an overabundance of aggression, especially when it comes to ideological perspectives or points of view that are grounded in religious zealotry and people taking up arms over that, which isn't necessarily fun or good for the masses, right? And it's not really leading from the heart. It's leading from a place of fear and control, potentially. But if we keep that in mind and know that that's a potential ingredient for the mix of this full moon, if you will, then we can kind of see it coming and hold our own and stay centered and not let it undermine our sense of self-worth, our integrity, or what we know to be right. And there is a lot of beautiful energy going on here that is supportive. So I don't want to scare people. It's just, this is why I do this, is to give us all a heads up to learn how to work with the beneficial energies that are coming our way versus getting overwhelmed by external events. So The other thing that's interesting about this full, there's a lot of interesting things. This is a very potent time, potentially one of the most intense full moons of the year, but we're not even in eclipse season yet. That starts with the next new moon and then the following full moon. So this is a portal time period for the next month and a half or so of really opening and closing some big doors in some big ways. And so I think that we're going to see a lot of people making big changes, whether or not they realize it yet. The hand of fate comes to mind. Um, and so one thing that we have going on during this full moon is that we have Pallas Athena at 15 degrees of Aquarius retrograde conjunct this full moon as well. And this is all about strategy and intellect. Again, underscoring that continuing theme of humanitarian idealism and strategy and intellect over the heart. But you cannot let the the intellectual side of what is right and what is good overrule love. And that's because the heart is so strong. Um, the heart's magnetic field is the largest magnetic field in the body. It far outweighs the magnetic field of the brain. So even though there is a lot of energy asking us to be smart and to use our heads, if you're acting from a place of love, you will be okay. Like you will be um, divinely protected on some level. It might still hurt, but like the heart speaks louder than what is right and what is smart a lot of times. And the heart has its own magic that is completely I mean, that's why love songs are so popular. That's why heartbreak songs are so popular because everybody has one and it is so overpowering. And where, I mean, like the mind and intellect are certainly important, but we don't have songs about people just being smarty pants. Not a lot of them anyway. Certainly nowhere near the level of magnitude of songs that we have about love. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's look at what's going on. We've talked a little bit about Mars. We've talked about Saturn and Neptune and Uranus. Oh, this is one of the most beautiful moments we have going on here during this full moon. It's not going to be conjunct until a couple of days after the full moon, but Venus conjunct Jupiter at 13, 14 degrees of Cancer. And now Venus and Jupiter are the two benefics, the greater and the lesser benefic of the zodiac. They're both in the sign of Cancer, where Jupiter is exalted. And again, it's very emotional energy. It's all about the heart. It's about love. It's abundance. It's expansion. And so if you have any water sign energy in your chart at 13, 14, 15 degrees, even 12 degrees, um, you're gonna be feeling this flow in your life. It's going to show up for you, depending on where that is in your life. So just be open to beautiful, bountiful energy coming your way. It's more likely to actually show up for you on Monday of next week. This full moon is happening on the early morning of Saturday at 3:55 in the morning. So my suggestion for working with this energy is Friday night. I mean, I'm going to be doing it with my group in New York, but meditate, journal, um, really do a check-in with yourself to see what's coming up for you. Make a list of the themes and the things that are going on in your life. When you find yourself ruminating, and I mean, I'm the worst at it. I do it all the time. Find myself thinking about relationships or people that I used to be in relationships with, or I don't let it rule my behavior, but these things just come up in my mind, and you want to say thank you to the experiences that you've had and to like move forward and to send those things love, but you also don't want to live in the past. Um, like I said, this is portal energy. It's opening doors. Other doors are closing for us. But the one direction where none of us are going is we're not going backwards. We're not going, we cannot go back to the way things were, nor should we want to, because if we're so busy looking backwards at the past, we really are losing out on what's right in front of us right now and the future, and what that might hold. That doesn't mean that you can't reach back out to somebody if you think you've grown or they've grown or you have something left unsaid. And certainly with Mercury retrograde in the sign of Leo, right now, the heart could be revisiting past loves or past memories of love in some way and wanting to communicate that. Mercury is the messenger of the gods. And when he's retrograde, he tends to be nostalgic, one way or another. Um, so, I mean, certainly you can reach out, but I don't know that it's healthy like to ruminate about the past or to brood on the past if there's no sign of things having actually changed or situations or circumstances changing in a way that creates space for a different version of the story to unfold. Some things are circumstantial and some things are just outside of our control, right? But like people can change, people can grow, but unless that's showing up in a really obvious way where somebody is saying like, hey, I miss you, like you're important to me. I want to do what it takes to make things right between us, whatever that means for you. Like then it's probably best to just sort of send it some love and let it go and try to grow from it and move on, as painful as that can be. But that's just that's just, you know, the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Once that cookie sort of crumbled, it's really hard to put it back together. You might still be able to enjoy those crumbs now and then, but it's not as satisfying as like a whole complete cookie that's being served up hot and fresh from the oven that is made fresh with all of those ingredients of love and abundance and joy that could be coming your way, right? So just food for thought, literal and figuratively. Um, okay, what else is going on during this full moon? We have what, dark moon Lilith. She's at 28 degrees of Libra. Um, and which is it's not anywhere near oh well, actually, yeah, no, there is something going on with that. I was looking at that. My eye gets drawn to things, and it's for a reason. She's opposite Chiron right now. And Chiron is up here. He's retrograde at 27 degrees of Aries. Dark Moon Lilith is here at 28 degrees of Libra. So just 1 degree from being perfectly exact. That's very strong energy. That again, Chiron is old wounds that just won't heal. Um, and it's representative of the Centaur Chiron, who was again, it comes back to intellect. He was a teacher. He was really smart and intelligent. He was a teacher to the heroes, Achilles and some other ones as well. But he was shot with a poison arrow, and the wound, while he was immortal, he couldn't die. The wound also would never heal. So the living with that pain was so excruciating that eventually he asked Jupiter or Zeus to end his life and to put him in the heavens, and he became the this the constellation Sagittarius. So I cannot talk this morning. Mercury is retrograde at 4 degrees Leo. My Venus is square to this Mercury at 4 degrees Scorpio. So I'm having a hard time like getting stuff out in a nice way because of that particular transit and how that's affecting me. So thanks for bearing with me. I'm not immune to the energies of planetary transits, just like nobody is, right? Just like anybody else. I am also vulnerable and have to deal with the slings and arrows of the planets and what fate has in store for me. Um, and so, uh, but this energy of Chiron, the wounded healer, is opposing Black Moon Lilith. And so this is the shadow side of desire. This is obsession. This is control. It's power. It's sex. It's really seductive energy, but is it being used for good? Not always, you know? And that's not to say that all of those things are necessarily bad, but it's the expression of the shadow side of that energy. And in Libra, its beauty is balance, it's fairness, being used in a way that is maybe it's diabolical. And maybe it is bringing up some of those wounds of self-expression, which is what Chiron and Aries is about the integrity of knowing that you're whole and that you're capable of being worthy of love in the world without having to prove it all the time. That's just one way it can show up for you. Um, so I think we've covered most of the planets. We haven't really talked about the nodes. The nodes are the North Node is still in Pisces. He's moving backwards into that second decan of Pisces. And the South Node is in Virgo here at 18 degrees of Virgo. Um, these are going to come into play more next month as we get into eclipse season. Um, Eclipse season is always a fun bag of tricks, depending on who is getting hit by it. But I will say again, as I've been saying all year, that the having the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo is the most difficult nodal placement in the entire zodiac. And so we're only about 6, 7 months into that journey. We have another year or so before we're done with that. And then we get to enjoy North Node in Aquarius, where it'll meet up with Pluto, and that'll be incendiary. But that's on down the road, and so let's not worry about that stuff just yet. Um, but there's some conversations happening here. There's a bit of a harsh angle between the South Node and the planets that are this Saturn Neptune conjunction here. That's a semi-square happening or a sesquiquadrate between um, those planets, which can sort of speak to the illusion of control. So the South Node in Virgo really wants to control things with an iron grip. I think we see that playing out publicly in the political spectrum quite a bit at the moment. And it's coming up against this, again, that negative expression of the Neptune-Saturn conjunction is the illusion of power and control. Neptune is about illusions and the dissolving of boundaries, while Saturn is about enforcing them. So I think that is obviously very publicly happening, at least in America. But again, it's illusory control. It's not real. It's sort of fake and clinging to outmoded instances of power, and like holding on to it so tightly until like your fingers bleed or your hands break. It's like a death grip kind of situation where the North Node in Pisces, which is where we are collectively being asked to go by the universe, is actually it's a very spiritual place of trusting that the universe will show up for you, regardless of the appearance of control. That's the Pisces energy is universal manifestation of love and expression of being able to manifest what you need instantly, without necessarily having the appearance of having all the answers immediately. So yeah, that's this full moon in a nutshell. Obviously, if you have personal planets at or near where any of the outer planets are transiting right now, you're going to be feeling their impact profoundly. So that's everybody, unfortunately, like not everybody in the same way, but if you have planets at or near 1 to 5 degrees of any sign during this full moon, you're most likely going to feel that in a profound way. Why? Because we have, again, Neptune and Saturn at 1 degree of Aries. That brings in all the cardinal signs. We have Gemini at 1 degree, or Uranus at 1 degree of Gemini. That brings all the mutable signs in. And then we have the fixed signs with Pluto at 2 degrees of Aquarius. So that is literally every sign like covered is going to be impacted. Now, the way you'll be impacted will depend on your personal chart. Um, and then, we also have there's it's just a lot of conversations going on. There's a lot of beautiful stuff happening, but there's also a lot of tension and aggression happening too. So, what does that mean? As it is so complicated and so powerful. I think I just have to go back to, the sense of we are in Leo season, which is about our heart. It's about our integrity. It's about joy. So it's about finding room for those things right now, regardless of what is going on externally. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'll put the screenshot up for you all. It'll be on the website. Um, and let's see, 1 second. Ooh, I moved my camera, sorry. Um, all right, so what does that mean for us as individuals? It's about coming together again, community. That's one of the themes of Aquarius energy. Who are our people? Who is showing up for us? Who is reaching out to us? How do we show up authentically as leaders in that community? Not everybody is meant to be a leader all the time, but you can be a leader of one when you are doing the things that speak to your soul, when you are feeling aligned, and looking for that alignment can be a journey. And you never know who you're going to inspire by just literally being yourself, by doing the things that speak to your heart and doing them in a way that light you up and make you proud. So I think that's a good place to start from. Um, Love is a complicated, big issue that is sort of ineffable and indefinable. And all the poets throughout all of history have spent their lives um, trying to decode exactly what that is and how that looks and how that feels. And it's different for every single person. But I think if you're navigating from a place of love and acceptance and looking to align your heart with the good of others, like that's a beautiful mission. It's when we stray from that and we let things like greed or fear or rejecting our own self-love and hiding from love and like not actually having conversations with people about what you need and how to show up and hiding from genuine connections with people, that things get complicated, things get hurt, and people get hurt. So that's just my little food for thought. So I've got some meditation prompts for mindfulness, meditation, and manifestation during this new or full moon. Oh my gosh, this Mercury retrograde, you guys, it's really getting to me. It was fine for until like yesterday. I didn't feel it at all, felt great. And then yesterday it just kind of hit me. So just trying to get this out there, help you all out with it. Bear with me. So let's start with Aries. If you are an Aries rising, this full moon would likely be in your 11th house. It's your house of community, visions, and networks. And so make sure you're checking in with yourself and your extended friend group as well. And ask yourself, what kind of future are you aligned with? Aquarius is very forward thinking, future thinking. It has big visions for the future. Make sure that your visions are actually in alignment with who you are in your core, your heart of hearts. Um, and also ask yourself who walks with you, beside you on your way towards that future vision. You could envision your ideal community. You can breathe into that feeling of connection. Aquarius is an air sign, so try to release any outdated group dynamics and call in those that see your vision and amplify your sense of clarity and your purpose. After the full moon is culminated, it's time to let stuff go. So you can manifest on on the days leading up to it, between now and the full moon on Saturday morning at like 4 in the morning. Then after that, make sure you're letting things go that just aren't serving you anymore. So Taurus rising, this is going to be in your 10th house, your house of career, your legacy, your public life. So maybe ask yourself, what does success feel like in your body? And what impact do you really want to leave behind? Now, envision your highest version of your public expression. Where does your joy intersect with your service? And maybe let go of titles or identities or jobs that no longer represent your true essence and make room for things that are in better alignment with you, for your loved ones. If you're a Gemini rising, this will be in your 9th house. It's the house of wisdom, belief, exploration, and philosophy. So ask yourself, what story or belief about yourself and your place in the world are you ready to rewrite? And envision a future where that is solved. Close your eyes and breathe in curiosity. Let your mind expand and invite the energy of liberation as you release limiting ideologies into your mind that align with your more spacious, abundant truth. Now, Cancer rising, you guys are in luck because you'll have Jupiter and Venus that are conjunct in your first house right now, bringing you a lot of love and abundance and supercharging those beautifully magnetic vibrations to your whole life. So um, definitely take advantage of that during this full moon. But this full moon will be happening in your 8th house of transformation, of intimacy, and power. So ask yourself what fear or attachment you might be ready to transmute into something that is more akin to personal power. You can breathe deeply into your belly and visualize releasing old cords or hidden shames and open up to alchemical wisdom within your own shadow and call back your energy from places where it might have been lingering and diffusing your life force. Now, Leo risings. Leo, it's your season. Happy solar return in your first house. Your new moon was a couple of weeks ago, so you're beginning a new journey in a lot of ways. But the full moon is happening in your 7th house of relationships, of partnerships and harmony and balance. So ask yourself, what relationship patterns are you ready to evolve past or release in order to meet yourself more fully and show up as a better partner? You can sit in quiet contemplation of your relationship dynamics, contemplate the key relationships in your life, your partnerships. These could be business partnerships or they could be romantic. You'll know the answer, but make sure you're looking at things that are mutually aligned, and also observing things that might be draining to you, because those are things that you should let go of, let them find better, more fertile feeding grounds, and then make room for more things that are in alignment. Imagine sitting and clearing the space for yourself and authentic, empowered partnerships to show up. Virgo risings. Now, you guys have the South Node in your first house right now, so that can be a time of illusions, of clinging to what feels comfortable and familiar, but it's also bringing up a lot of turmoil for you. But this full moon is going to be happening in your 6th house, the house of routines, your house of health and services. So ask yourself, what daily practices bring vitality to your body and peace to your mind? Maybe light a candle and ground into your breath. Invite clarity around your daily rituals. This could be as little as like assessing your diet, like if are you having any allergies or something not agreeing with you? Are you spending too much time in the gym or not enough? Looking for balance around those daily habits that create long-term results. So try to release any guilt or shame or self-criticism around a sense of needing to be productive for productivity's sake, and open yourself up to more sustainable rhythms that are more nourishing to your internal world. Now, Libra rising, this full moon would be happening in your fifth house of creativity, of joy, of romantic connection, and true love. So ask yourself, how can you reclaim your joy as a sacred birthright and channel that joy and abundance into your creations? And visualize your own inner child. What did they like to play with? What needs did they need to have expressed or be reassured about? Let go of the need for approval and try to create an atmosphere or a place for yourself to just feel sheer delight and revel in the aliveness of being alive. Scorpio rising, this full moon would be in your fourth house. This is the only house in astrology that is representative of a real house, your home, your roots, your mother, and also your inner safety. So ask yourself, where in your life could you cultivate a deeper sense of belonging, both within yourself, but also externally, and all those themes I just mentioned for you. Make sure you're breathing that loving energy into your heart space. Maybe even do some visualizing around what your ideal sanctuary might look like, what is inside of you and around you, and how do you support that? Look at releasing any ancestral or inherited emotional burdens and bless that inner foundation. Make sure that you are addressing what you inherited, what you came with, but also don't let it rule you or dictate who you get to show up to be. Sagittarius rising, this is your third house of communication, of thought and learning. Also short-term travel as well. So ask yourself, what thoughts or words are ready to be cleared so that you can speak with greater truth and intention? How do you speak both from the heart and in a way that communicates authentically with alignment towards kindness towards humanity as a whole? You could journal or speak aloud what's been cluttering up your mind. Breathe into that throat chakra and invite clarity and compassion into your self-talk and dialogues. Capricorn rising, this is all about your second house of values, of earned income, resources, and self-worth. So you could be, I mean, Capricorn risings love money, or yeah, so this is going to be an inventive way for you to channel that energy into greater income opportunities. So ask yourself, what is your worth beyond what it is you physically own? Is it intellectual property? Is it ideas? Is it something that isn't even fully manifested yet? Or is it the closing of a chapter that started 6 months ago or even before that? So ask yourself, in a place of stillness, really connect with your heart and breathe in the energy of self-love, knowing that no matter what your bank account says, no matter what your paycheck says or what your boss says, or your partner, anybody else, that you are worthy of love regardless of those material things. Let go of all those scarcity stories and call in support and abundance that are more aligned with your deepest values. Now, Aquarius rising, this is all about your first house. This is your self, your physical body, your house of identity and vitality. So when this a full moon is in your first house, it could light up any and all parts of your life because it's literally yourself. So ask yourself, what part of me, what part of you is ready to be seen and celebrated fully and full authenticity? You could sit in stillness and observe your energy. Just get a sense of what it's like to feel like you and your body. And maybe think about what that feeling could look like to an outside observer. Who are you becoming? And let go of any labels that just no longer serve your story. Breathe into that bold new version of you that is waiting to emerge and let go of those things that are just no longer serving. Now, last but most certainly not least, Pisces risings. This is in your 12th house, which is the house of the subconscious, of solitude, of hidden enemies and surrender. It's a house of dreams. So make sure that you're addressing the things that aren't obvious in your life right now. What unseen patterns are asking to be healed through compassionate release and self-love? You can go sit by the water or let yourself, get into the tub and gently drift mentally inwards. Invite some grace to transform that solitude into spiritual renewal. Because next month you'll have a full moon in your first house if you're a Pisces rising. So this is the ending of a chapter. So it could be a powerful ending that is getting ready to make room for some beautiful new adventures just around the corner. Well, that's all from me for this full moon in Aquarius. If you're in New York or have friends that are in New York, come to the event on Friday. We'll be meditating, we'll be doing Reiki, there'll be a sound bath. It's gonna be a very cool couple of hours, a great way to spend a Friday evening in the city that never sleeps. Head over to the website, bloodmoonmilk.com, click on workshop, and sign up there. Space is limited, so if you're interested, go sign up fast because I have a feeling once this video gets posted, those spaces are going to fill up and be gone. So until next time, I wish you all the best the stars have to offer. Thanks. Bye.